Arguably, one of the most powerful tools in Studio is its render engine. It can produce images that look very close to real life. In this video, I'm going to be taking you for a walkthrough through the features of the render engine so you can see how capable it is for yourself. On a few occasions, designs that I have done and rendered in Studio have been confused with real life builds, like this design of a haunted house I did as a collaboration with Tomas Kasparek. So that shows you just how powerful the Studio render engine can be. We have a lot to cover. I'm going to go through as many options as I can in this video with you, and hopefully you will be able to get the best out of the render engine for your project. Before I begin, I wanted to remind you about the Studio Lego Designers Facebook group. We have close to 150 members now. It is a very active group. There's a lot of great conversations and questions being asked and designers showing off their works. So I invite you to come and join the Studio Lego Designers community. I will put the link in the description below. I'm going to be demonstrating a lot of the features of the render engine with this design I just did instructions for by Daniel Bujeja. So first we're going to go to our render icon on the top bar and click that. And then we get this window open which presents us with a whole host of options to use in our renders. Very quickly, we're going to start at the top and then we will work our way down. So at the very top, we have our render image or our queue. In our queue, we can add our renders into that queue and they will render out in the background, which will allow you to keep working in Studio while your renders are happening. I recommend doing it this way because if you have the render in your foreground, it's going to take a lot of computing power and it's going to prevent you from working on pretty much anything outside of Studio. In this window, we have our preview of what we are going to be rendering. So here, if we click on the right-hand mouse button, we can spin that image around, or by using the scroll wheel, we can zoom in and out. You can also change the image sizes in this section. You can use one of the presets, which are common aspect ratios. I often use squares because they're easier to post to Instagram and Facebook. If you are in one of the 4:3 aspect ratios, you can also change the page format from portrait to landscape. On the right side, we have these basic tabs for photoreal or Pov-ray or animation. The photoreal is the native render engine to Studio. Pov-ray is an older render engine. And the animation tab is something new that Studio has put in, and it is very cool. I'm going to be showing you a sample of that later. In photoreal, we have the option of medium, high, very high, or custom render quality. Of course, as you go up the quality of the render, it's going to take longer, but you're also going to get a much better image. I have an 8 gig card, so it isn't a problem for me. I always go very high. Next, we can change our background to either transparent or solid color. You're going to want to use transparent if you're going to be putting this on top of an image in the background. Solid color is good if you just want to have the native color behind it and you aren't going to be doing any editing afterward. We can choose to keep the floor shadow on or off. Sometimes you're not going to want it on because your image is sideways or upside down or something like that. Or maybe it's elevated off the ground and you don't want a big shadow underneath it. Next we have the light options, where we have 5 different types of light that can come in. I will be demonstrating those later on. We can choose where we want the camera to be facing, so we have a few different options there. We can also set the rotation of the camera and the light intensity. After that, we have the device, which we can either use our GPU, which is on our video card, or our CPU. If you don't have a really powerful GPU and you have a lot of available RAM in your CPU, then you might want to switch to CPU. Otherwise, I would just leave it on GPU. And then we can change our camera setup, which is basically the same thing as we did here, where we were zooming in and out, but you can put in specific values if you want, or you can change the camera rotations with these presets, or go back to custom. The zoom scale, as I mentioned, is changed with the middle mouse button scrolling in and out, and our field of view controls the base number that your zoom scale is working on. So if you go with a lower number, it sets it to be much closer. If you go with a higher number, then it puts your image further away. Last in this set of options is the material effects. So we can choose to turn our stud logos on and off, or turn on or off UV degradation, which is to emulate if your bricks were out in the sun. Or we can choose to turn on or off our scratches, which is playware, etc. Under Pov-ray for render quality, we have the options of low, medium, high, or custom. We can change the floor color to transparent or just the floor only. And we can move the light position around. Under animation, we can change the frame rate. We can change the duration of the animation itself. We can add in effects, like adding a building sequence, putting in the steps, having the duration, or you can even add a brick falling down effect. You can have it so that the object is revolving around and you can change the speed and direction of that. Again, we have our render qualities, our background and lighting, our device, our camera setup, and material effects, which is the same options as the initial render engine. So those are the options in the render engine in a nutshell. Next, I'm going to show you a series of images where I have changed the options out so you can see what the effects are. So this is Studio's engine set to low, medium, and high. And you can tell there isn't much of a difference between these levels, except for the amount of time it takes to render it. So if you're doing something and you just want a quick render, then I would suggest going low. If you want something with a little more detail in it, then set it to high, understanding that it is going to take a bit longer and the quality doesn't change too dramatically between the low and the high setting. Now we have the different light levels. So this is the building light. This is the mechanic option, where the image is a bit darker along the top. This is the asteroid level where we get some light coming in just along the top edges. This is the dawn, which is actually the one I use a lot. This is my favorite light source, where you get a lot of light coming in at the front of the object. And this is Piazza, where we get our light coming from top down as if you're within a piazza. Here's the option to change your lighting to the right front rather than the left front. So we're in the building one, you don't see a whole lot of difference. We just have the light coming in from a different source. This is good if you have a enclosed room or something like that where you need the light to be angled in a different direction because you're getting a lot of shadows. You might want to change your light source around. And this is the building light again, but set to 0 intensity. So if you have some glow in the dark elements that you want to be seen better, then you're going to want to go with a less intense light source. Now we'll look at the scratches and UV options. So this is a regular brick with the scratches on, and I've just left it to the default setting here. You can make the scratches more or less prevalent by playing with those options. This is a brick with the default UV degradation on it, so there's a tiny bit of yellowing but not too much. Now this is a brick with UV degradation set to a bit higher, so you can see the yellowing a bit more. We'll move on to the Pov-ray settings now. This is the low setting, the medium setting, and the high setting. There is a bit more difference in the quality in the Pov-ray between the low and the high setting, but you'll notice overall that the POV engine is not nearly as clear and lifelike as the Studio Native Render engine. If you want to do a very quick render, say just to get the idea of what your design is going to look like in real life, then you can use the Pov-ray render engine. This is a demonstration of the animation engine done by a member of the Studio Lego Designers community, Miranda Hortia. This is his 5G spaceship. He said it took him 6 hours and 50 minutes of render time to create this effect. So if you are going to be using the animation feature, I would suggest that you set it for overnight, and then in the morning you'll have this fantastic image you can share as a GIF on all of your social feeds. So that is very cool. Thank you to Miranda for letting me use your animation in this demonstration. That was a very quick overview of the options in the render engine. There are many things that you can play with and tweak the light and get your images exactly how you want them. So I would suggest going in and trying out some different options to see what you like, what kind of light source you like, and your camera rotations and everything like that until you get an image that you're happy with. You can also go in and edit the actual code in Studio to be able to produce even finer images. I'm going to be doing a tutorial on that in the future, so stay tuned. Next video is going to be on doing callouts. I've had quite a few questions about how to do callouts within the PDF instructions, so I will be dealing with that next. If this has been helpful to you, please remember to like and subscribe and share it out so we can continue to grow this community of studio designers. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day. Keep dreaming in bricks. Bye bye.